Maybe don't know.
This time, next time, this time to build. 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 This time power. This time to build power. This time to build power. This time to build power.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Chris Hampton. Welcome to episode 148 of the Power Company Podcast, brought to you by PowerCompanyClimbing.com. I am still here in Lander, Wyoming, where a fresh layer of too much snow has recently fallen, which is actually not a bad thing for me because I need to get into the gym and get another training cycle started because these hard boulders aren't going to climb themselves, and it's just time for that. So before I go any further, I want to say thanks for making episode 147 with Dr. Tyler Nelson our biggest opening week yet. And I just talked to Tyler this morning, and if that episode makes it into the top 10 of 2019, which is a tall order, by the way, because it was released so late in the year, doesn't have enough time to marinate and get all the downloads that the episodes in January do. But if it can make it to that top 10 list for 2019, we will do a listener questions episode. As many questions as you can come up with, really. I could have Tyler on the podcast for like 6 hours. We'd have to eat a lot of donuts, drink a lot of coffee, but we will answer all of your questions if it makes it that top 10. So share it with your friends. Make sure it gets there. We'll do that when we're in Ottawa this coming January 13th through 15th. That's 2020. We'll be up there with the Performance Climbing Coach Seminar at Altitude Gym, and that registration is open right now. It's early bird, and you can save $300 off the standard pricing. Super early bird, I think they call it, actually. $300 savings, so go get in there. January 13th to 15th, Altitude Gym, Ottawa, Canada. Also gearing up for our first Empowered event. I'll be sending out, actually Lana will be sending out, I will not be, the instructions for the assessments to all of the Empowered participants today. You're probably not listening to this today, but you might be. Those will be sent out. Our data guy, Dale, will be taking a look at those and letting the coaches know, letting you know day one of the seminar what all those numbers mean, how to use them, and what numbers mean in general. And you're going to be hearing more from Dale very, very soon if you follow us over on the Instagrams. We've been digging into these numbers for quite a while, and we're learning some interesting things. So stay tuned. All right, let's get into this episode. This is a part 2 of an episode that very quickly became a cult classic. Several people have told me this is their favorite episode we've ever done. I believe it was episode 12 with Will Anglin and Rowland Chen. And P.O.E. refers to position over everything. That's what those guys believe. That's what I believe is the key to climbing better. Whether it means you're strong in those positions or you can just get into those positions or you understand those positions, whatever it is, position over everything. And if you stay tuned to the very, very end of this episode, after the final theme song, there is a great rant from Will about how position relates to climbing harder boulders. He gives you all the beta. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's get into it.
Like, I'm more than strong. Like, the reason I'm not doing these boulders is not because I'm not strong enough. I'm like too strong, and I forgot how to do everything else that made me good at climbing.
Power. This time to build power. This time to build power. This time to build power.
All right, serious time.
Okay, P.O.E.
All
part 2.
serious. We're all business, button-down
Yeah.
shirts.
I have a job now, so that's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
You are. And last time we talked, the only fucking thing I remember about the last time we talked, actually, is that Rowland was single and we were trying to crowdsource your girlfriend.
Yeah, that was
right?
fun.
All right, so what's the status now?
I'm single, but that's a good thing. a good
Okay.
thing now.
That's a
Oh,
good
yeah?
thing. So
Yeah.
we're not
that
trying to
what you tell yourself?
crowdsource
That's
a
what I tell myself
girlfriend this
every
time.
night. I'm dating myself right now.
No, I think last time, we were talking about P.O.E, position over everything. And I was trying to dig out like how you teach this to your kids, because at the time you were coaching the team, right?
Correct.
What a wild time.
Crazy times.
Yeah.
No.
Here
We're
we
also
are.
living together.
Way back,
Yeah.
well, sort of. You were like living on his couch or something. So
No, man,
No,
I had
we
a
were-
full-fledged
we were-
Did you really?
full-fledged
Oh,
bedroom,
someone
man.
else was sleeping
I
on
was,
the couch.
Yeah, that was Mark Pod was sleeping on the
Mark
couch.
was sleeping on
Yeah.
the
Don't
couch.
put that on me.
Right, all right.
Mark
Sorry,
Mark
Roland.
now lives in that house now. He moved
Yeah,
to
he
Colorado.
moved into I took the master when they left, and then when I left, Mark took the master.
Oh, sick. It's rotating
subletting.
climber house.
And now my wife and I finally don't have roommates,
which is cool.
which
That's
has
really
been
nice.
a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm sure your wife
She's
really
very
appreciates that, actually.
Yeah. It's been
All
a
right,
while.
so now we're all grown up, responsible adults.
Yep.
And,
Which is very dope.
many things have changed, including that the two of you, and I'll just relate this to Roland's recent post. Your post was, how long can you say that you've been on one?
Yeah.
Because you've been on one for a minute.
Because I'm on one.
You're on
He
one.
is one.
And you've both kind of been on one for quite a while. And I'm curious how much of that is related to this idea of P.O.E, and how much of it is what the training world wants to think is sexy and popular, and it's all about hangboarding deadlifts and 159.
I mean, Roland's sexy and popular.
And I can deadlift a lot, so if you draw a correlation, and it's pretty good.
Strong correlations. That's really all that matters.
I think so. I don't know if I've been on one.
You've
Am
been on a thing for sure,
the old work thing.
Yeah,
I just haven't been able to rock climb.
which sucks.
But you did
Yeah.
for a while there.
Yeah.
For
but
a
I'm,
while there, you were
like-
crushing things.
If I could rock climb now, I could rock climb a lot better than I rock climbed. I think for the first
Word.
Yeah. I think for the first time in my life, I can say that I'm pretty strong.
Yeah, you have gotten like strong in the classical sense.
Yeah, in
where
the
you can like
classical sense.
pull stuff and hang stuff and pick stuff up, and that's been
Yeah.
like cool.
And I can I can do the types of boulders and sometimes quickly that I could not do the
Yeah.
last time we talked. Like that was
rough.
I can't even go back and watch myself climb like that. It's disgusting.
You are now as strong as I was when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you are even stronger. You've always been really strong.
that's been my thing.
But
But
I
I've
think-
always been a bad climber. But now I'm not.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I'm not a bad climber,
That's the
and I'm
important thing.
stronger than I was. And so now it looks like I'm a good climber.
Yeah.
Even though that's still kind of not the case.
He's just really, really strong and pretty good when before he was terrible and just regular strong. So,
That's where we're
yeah.
at.
Recap.
Okay, well, all right. Well, thanks for talking to me, guys.
Yeah, it's been real. We'll see you in a
That
couple
was
years.
a quick one.
So how does that come about? Like, I mean, you guys, we talked about the last time that you were like trying to learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Did that
how-
just continue? Is that the only thing you continued?
I
How
gave
long-
up trying to do that, honestly.
What do
Okay.
you, yeah.
So,
you go through your
I stopped being a broke-ass kid working in the climbing gym and started to just live my life as I do. And the biggest thing that I've been doing in the last like year or two is not trying to climb like anybody else, which has been really cool because I'm really good at a couple of things.
Right.
And so I've tried to find ways to be good at those couple of things everywhere instead of just trying to like, because for the longest time I was trying to like climb like you did so I could like be better at climbing. And that was like a huge part of me like learning how to climb better. But then recently I was like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
just was like, I'm just going to do my thing. And since then I've gotten really good at doing my thing and I can do that on other things that are a broader spectrum of climbing movement.
Right. And I think that's an important part of learning new skills, like figuring out when to apply and stop trying to learn it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like I've seen Angie Payne, for example. I was talking to Angie a lot when she was trying to learn how to jump because all the new comp styles were jumping, and Angie's just grab a crimp, put a foot on a tiny little hold and hold the tension and make the move. You know, that was her climbing style. And she was learning how to jump. What'd you say?
Just like me.
She was learning to jump, went to a comp, was trying to jump first person out, women's finals, I think, trying to jump on this boulder. Everyone else comes out and does it old school Angie style, static, you know? So at that point, it's like, stop trying to jump and be you again and just apply the things that you've learned all that time.
For sure.
Know? And I think a mistake a lot of people make is continuing to try and do something different.
Yeah, like it's really important to train weaknesses and try to learn from your flaws and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not Will Anglin.
Yeah,
I'm not
you.
Dan Fong. Like, I can't be a big dude. I'm really good at pulling and jumping and grabbing stuff.
Right.
And so, like, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. So what do you think made the big difference? Because you've shifted into another gear. Do you think that's the only difference?
I really honestly do. And climbing
to
at the
Rowland?
shop where I can make up boulders that are really good for things like that.
Yeah.
Has been just huge. It's been like super important because commercial gyms are cool and everything, but it's somebody else setting routes and you got to figure out beta and stuff. But when you can make up your own boulders, like, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you find you excel in these commercial gym settings since everything's kind of jumpy moves?
Now I do.
Big holds. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. So you don't go in there and just crush everything. You'd rather come in here and find ways to get crushed.
Yeah, for sure. That's a much better thing, I think, to do.
Yeah. And you went through a little phase of crushing a bunch of boulders. And you kept saying to me, like, almost secretly, like, I'm getting really strong. You know?
Yeah. So I think it's important to, like, put the time scale in context because I think
well, it's been a while since the last conversation.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's been like 3 years, and I think
like 110
I've had 3 jobs
episodes or something.
Yeah. And so I think what happens, and I think if you look at the way you learn other things, you'll find these same kind of steps to be true. So we both spent like 2 to 2.5 years.
Long time.
Actively, like, every time we climbed, all we were doing is what we talked to you about in the initial P.O.E. podcast. We're like, I'm trying to be Rowland and Rowland's trying to be me.
Yeah.
And so we were in that mindset for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people maybe don't understand is they're like, oh, okay, so like I did it one session, or they do it for a month, or they're like, I'm going to learn this season, I'm going to practice this one thing. And it's not like that. It's like 9 seasons down the road. It's years down the road where you get to the point where I feel like we both felt like we had both pushed ourselves towards the other person enough to where we had, like, learned as much as we were going to learn, and it was time to reintegrate that into, like, I'm Will and this is how I climb, and you're Rowland and that's how you climb.
Yeah.
And I think when Rowland really started to take off was when he, like, came to that realization. And it's hard to have someone tell you that. Like, I think you eventually got to a point where you were like, I'm ready. This is it.
Yeah,
Here we go.
you just, like, feel it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And for me,
and I recommend it.
I think I'm on, like, I feel like I'm kind of on a delayed timeline from Rowland because I ended up getting sucked into starting a company, for better or worse.
Yeah,
and
I feel your
Still
pain.
Up for debate.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know if this whole wood hold thing is gonna last.
We didn't.
Not if you're giving
think
away
so.
hoodies all the time like that.
Hey, those were good flashes or on-site.
Yo, it's like the Donald Trump mentality where you're like, we got plenty of hoodies, guys. We're doing fine. So you give them away, but on the inside,
and
it's
then you're
all
bankrupt.
just, and then you're bankrupt. Yeah, and you
Yeah.
just don't give away
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah. We'll
hoodie
see how it
inventory, and
goes.
everything will be okay.
I think so right before I left for Switzerland, I think that was actually, I think I had the moment in Switzerland, because up to Switzerland, like you said, I had messaged you and I was like, holy shit, Chris, I'm getting really strong. I don't really know what to do with myself.
You were strong too. You looked big, which is a new thing.
It was cool.
Yeah.
And so, but what happened is that was me like getting too far. I like went full Rowland, eyes closed, everything flexed. And I was like, holy shit, I can do stuff like this now. Like, is this what hard climbing is? But I lost so much when I went that far. I went like just too far. Like I wasn't really connected with my feet anymore. I kind of like forgot how to use the things that were my really big strengths. And going to Switzerland and being like, shit, like I'm more than strong. Like the reason I'm not doing these boulders is not because I'm not strong enough. I'm like too strong, and I forgot how to do everything else that made me good at climbing. And so when I came back, and what I've been working on now is trying to reintegrate that into just the way I climb. And I'm already like, even just a couple months in, like I like feel like I'm in my feet, like I'm using my hips, I'm moving. I feel like I'm moving like I used to move. And now I'm just adding this like level of finger strength I never thought I'd have, and this level of pulling strength I never thought I'd have. And it's all kind of coming full circle. And, you know, hopefully I do some hard boulders that I haven't been able to do in the past, but
and that's the game.
And that's the game. Like, I don't know, but I think
Sounds
it's
like bouldering.
Yeah, sounds like bouldering.
And then you get some more points and you go home.
And then you're like, well, now
that.
I can't do this boulder. And then you start the whole thing over. But I think what's important to take from that is it's a really long, it's an elongated process. It doesn't just happen and then you're like, oh yeah, like I did that jump move, I'm good at jumping now.
Yeah, it takes fucking ever.
Yeah, years.
It's like not fun too.
Do you feel like you took it too far, or do you feel like you had to take it that far and have that realization that you had in Switzerland?
I mean, I think that's how we both. I think that's how we both figured it out. We crossed the line and we're like, oh shit. Like,
no, man, you crossed the line. I did a good job.
You didn't cross the line?
No, I did it all on my own. It was like a really easy transition. You do way too much. I'm
whatever.
good, man.
Yeah, whatever. I wish I could argue. I was just kind of hoping that you would
No, this is where we kind of split paths a little bit.
I think the lesson here is never go full Rowland.
I went full Rowland.
Yo, okay, I wouldn't go that far. Hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You ever had your glasses stomped on?
Hey man, I like your shoes.
They look a lot like my shoes.
Yeah. Look like my shoes now. You're not even wearing shoes. You're really going to steal my shoes.
Yeah, I didn't wear shoes on purpose. I knew this was going to happen.
Do you think there was a way to notice that you were going too far? Like, why did you do it right and Will completely fuck it up? And why didn't you stop Will from fucking it up?
Because I'm patient and I don't work in the climbing industry. So climbing is no longer 100% of my life. Whereas Will has no patience for stuff like this, and climbing is all of his life.
I'm getting more and more patient.
You are. It's getting better. But remember the story years ago when you first got your Confucius book?
Yes.
You're all into that? There's like the man who did not do enough,
Oh,
the man
yeah.
who did too much.
Straight up. I
That's
read
you,
that.
dog.
I know. And I
Yeah.
hate it. That is me.
Yep.
So tell us this Confucius.
All right. So it's this dope ass parable, right?
Yeah.
What's the Sun Ra thing? The feelings of, I don't remember, something about a parable and parallels.
Music is a sound image?
Yeah, it's in Music as a Sound Image.
Yeah, it's a great one.
But either way, you can cut that out.
Anyway, so Confucius has these like two students. And
The parallels of feeling parables. That's
yeah,
what it is.
it's a parallel feeling parable. So he's got one student who, doesn't do enough, like isn't astute enough, doesn't put enough time in, whatever. And then he has another student who puts way too much time in. It totally consumes his life, and he just like goes totally overboard. And someone asked Confucius, like, which student is better? And he's like, they're both bad. Like, to go too far is just as bad as to not go far enough. And that's something that, I should have internalized the first time I freaking read it.
On the inside of your lip or
So
Probably
Roland is
tattooed
the
on the
good
inside of my
student who
eyelids.
went just far enough.
No.
no. Forever I was the guy who didn't do enough.
Yeah. And the other thing, like strength is just way sexier than climbing well. And so I think once I started to feel like I was like, oh my God, I think
it's so
I'm
easy
gonna
to get strong.
Well, yeah,
Like,
you just put the work in.
Yeah.
And
God,
I think
it's
I
so
started to feel it, and I was like, and I had never felt that way in my whole life, and I was like, holy shit, I want this, and I just went off the deep end, and I went too far, which is just as bad. So
Which is something you do pretty consistently.
yeah, that's just kind of how I do my whole life thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get better at it, but you know how these things go.
It's
One
of
day
those, it
I'll
takes
die,
years.
and
I think you're
And
going
that's
too
that.
And that's
far
that.
in trying to get better at it.
so now I think I'm finally, the pendulum's coming back, and I've learned more in the last 5 years climbing, with Roland and this crew of people than I have in the first 12. And I mean, that's why I moved out here in the first place. I was like, I got to be out here where, I can watch Daniel Woods flash the boulder that I worked on for 2 months.
Yeah.
And just
Which happens all the time.
all the time. That's like normal.
Yeah.
That's more than normal.
It's both really cool and just awful.
I wish everyone could have seen the eyelash flutter that was happening with awful. Just
The thing
then.
was, it's really genuine too.
It was extremely, extremely genuine.
like, all right, sure, sick.
Yeah.
Yep, you
Good
did
job,
it.
Daniel. Really psyched
No,
you're here.
that was the hardest one I had. I don't have anything else for you. Good work though.
Oh man,
Do
he
you
wasn't so
think-
cool to hang out with.
Do you think one is more important to have than the other? If you could choose, you have 100% of capability and you have to have both things. Where do they lie in that spectrum? 70-30, 50-50?
Are you trying to squish hard ass boulders? Is that the
You want to
context?
climb hard boulders. Yep.
We debating between strength and finesse and technique.
You need
kind of
Yeah,
thing?
you
Roland
need,
versus
you
Will.
need both in equal amounts, 100 and 100.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude.
I got it, dude.
Yeah.
We're connected.
You can't have
you
have
just-
not all
were
of
you-
one and
Against
not
the
all of the
rules.
other.
Were you picking up on my vibes just then?
Yo, I was feeling those vibes.
Were you receiving
They
them?
were chill vibes.
They were pretty chill. I was trying to keep them chill.
I appreciate it because I was.
They weren't mellow. They weren't too mellow though, were they?
See, they were 100% chill and 100% mellow.
Okay, cool. I can deal with that.
All right. I'm going to have to put you both in separate rooms to get different answers from either of you. I see how this is going in the future. The P.O.E. part 3 is going to be Roland by himself, Will by himself.
Roland's gonna. Yeah, you'll
okay.
have to put him in a
Black
Faraday
box.
cage so he can't like speak minds. You know.
I've been practicing speaking minds and it's going phenomenally. So, just want you to know.
That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah. I was trying to think of another acronym for POE, but I couldn't do it. Psychics overly excited. So we'll see you in episode 1 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's accurate. Do you think, and this is where I want a different answer from each of you, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
We'll try.
We'll see what you can get.
Okay. I'll take what I can get, I suppose.
See what happened?
Do you think there's one major takeaway you took from each other's style that has made the most difference in your climbing?
Trying to find the words. Being connected from the nipples down was a huge thing that was like something
Okay.
it was hard to pick up on for a long time, and that's now happened, and I've since been able to use it.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know, you feel me?
I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember originally when we first started climbing together, and there was just piss easy move away from a foot, like pointing.
Oh, I couldn't do
Do you
that.
remember? You would just
Yeah.
you like stomp on the ground, stomp on it. I was like, dude, why can you not keep your freaking foot
Because
on
everything
the
from the
hold?
nipples down was different from the nipples up. It was a different body.
Yeah.
It wasn't my body.
But
It
now,
was somebody's body.
yeah, now you're a whole body.
I'm one.
You're somebody.
I'm. It's not anybody. It's somebody.
somebody.
Yep. Well, what's the biggest thing you've learned from me?
Ugh. Do I have to say I learned anything from him?
Yeah.
I'm so funny.
It hurts so bad to say good things.
Is that the biggest thing you learned from me?
Yeah. Man, I think for me, I knew that like early on we were kind of figuring out the whole idea of like position over everything.
Mhm.
And what we kind of the foundational thing we figured out was, okay, like you're not good at this, I'm not good at that. And like, how can there be a unified thing that is the answer to why we're both bad at different things? And that's kind of where the P.O.E. thing came from, because like you weren't moving into like the proper tension positions to even hold tension on your feet or through your shoulders and through your hips and everything, nipples down.
Yep.
And I like didn't understand. I was good at that, but when it came to disconnecting from the wall, having to like fly through space and then re-interact with the wall and land in a position, I was like, I couldn't figure out how to get my body there. And I think the biggest thing I learned from Rowland is just being able to watch him do those moves and try and like feel what he was feeling as he was doing it, and then mimic that in my own body as I tried those moves. Because for me, that like visual and feeling connection is really important. And like the way that I figure out how to climb things is like I can look at the wall, visualize something, and already feel it in my head, like how it's going to feel to do those moves.
Yeah.
But what happened with this jumping thing is, and these dynamic moves is, I couldn't visualize it. I couldn't see it in my head in order to feel it. Like I had to watch Rowland do it because it was so foreign to me that I had no way of integrating it.
You were so terrible.
I was so terrible at it. And I'd never seen anyone as good as Rowland at it. And that, I mean, even with the people who climb in here, when it comes to that pure style, I would still put Rowland up with the best people I've ever seen. And we've had some pretty gnarly people come through here.
Yeah, but
And-
like Matt Foltz is still out there.
yeah, but he does it differently than you do it. I watch you guys
guess
all
that's true.
a lot. And it's
cool,
I
man.
mean, take the damn compliment. It's nuts, dude. Like
Okay,
you're good
sick.
at it. I mean, there's like what Matt can do, you can't do, and what Daniel can do, you can't do, what Magos can do, you can't do, and what
True, also true.
Cardwell like I could go on.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that
I'm not trying to tear you too far down, but I'm saying like but the thing that you're good at, I don't know that I've really seen anybody else excel in that particular way. And so for me, it was like to have constant access to someone who I can talk to about it and watch do it and just go through that whole process with. I mean, that's invaluable. That's like how I've always learned to climb, is like picking a person and trying to learn everything I can. And I mean, yeah, it was
Talk about a
perfect.
person.
I think basically what you just did is say, I had a really good idea and it worked, but you still haven't told me what you actually learned from Rowland.
Yeah, man, what'd you learn from it?
I
You managed
don't
to
know-
skate around that whole thing.
I don't know how to
You
turn
made
it into
Rowland
like-
feel good.
I mean, I just learned how to do it.
yeah.
Like it
The biggest thing I learned from Rowland is that he's not Matt Foltz.
yeah. No, like
Awesome.
I
Thanks,
mean,
man.
I learned how to move, like move dynamically, how to actually catch, like my entire world of movement just opened up. Like I knew how to do one very narrow thing, and I learned a whole other just way of moving and even looking at how you would potentially do a boulder problem. Yeah, like it, even just the first couple times we climbed, I was like, fuck. Like, I was like, this
Yo,
dude's,
that's how I felt.
yeah, this dude's rocking my world right now. Like, I didn't realize that this is what was up.
That's going to be the front of the podcast. Tagline. Rocking my world.
He's rocking my world.
When I first started climbing with you, I was weirded out by you. It took me a minute to be like, okay, well, Anglin.
Thanks, dog.
Yeah. And it really worked out because it almost didn't for a minute.
It almost didn't. I remember the day that it was like, I think we could be friends.
Yeah. There was definitely like a moment or
Yeah,
a few.
it was the green boulder on the right side of the coffin prow that you came in and helped me forerun because you got to the gym early. I know you
yeah.
don't remember.
But
it's
who
not significant
remembers?
to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
but like I have it marked on my calendar, and
When is it? Can we celebrate?
I actually have a video we can find. The
No.
date. And we can go to dinner.
We can timestamp it.
Oh, it'll be
We can go back to
amazing.
E.T. Golden and
It'll be
complain
like
about
our,
the routes.
It'll
And
be our
then,
anniversary. Oh, I love it.
remember when we used to yell at kids there?
So y'all spent a lot of time trying each other's styles, and really trying to learn as much as you could. Were either of you able to? So, for instance, Rowland, were you able to learn more about your style watching Will try and adapt to it? And same thing, Will, by watching Rowland try and adapt to your style, were you able to master your own craft better?
That is
watching someone
that's a
else
good
learn?
question.
I was gonna.
I beat you to it.
Hey Nate, I want you to know that I really appreciate that question.
Thank you. I haven't heard that.
Hey, thanks for coming. Yeah, absolutely. Having to completely break down your style and explain it to somebody who has never done it before because they're terrible at it is a hugely important thing to be able to do. Like it makes you really like completely break down each element and understand why you move a certain way, and it helps you. It helped me a ton, like break out of it all of a sudden, because then you're like explaining why you're doing it a certain way and like how it feels and what you do to do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't explain it, like how well do you,
what do you
even
even do it?
know it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think we both kind of like learned we're able to incorporate certain bits of the opposite style into our own styles as well. Like I learned that there's like, I can leverage both my ability to keep my feet on with this like new knowledge of how to like fly through space and catch something. And so that move, the boulder on the beast, Speedy Gold Ninja, where you take that flat yellow
what a
edge
banger,
and you jump
yeah.
and you grab that thing.
Yep.
So fucking climber.
Yeah. So that for me is the perfect example of leveraging like that style that I learned from you, how to like catch that, immediately lock into that position and let my legs swing out. Flausen. Shout out Flausen.
Yep.
Uh,
If you know, you know.
if you know. And then, but the way that I do that move is I can keep my foot on for a really long time, and I can now like identify that moment where I need to snap right.
Yo,
at the
you
end.
learned that?
You're
I
like
know that
half
now.
Yo,
Will,
that's sick.
half
I know that
Rowland.
now. Where before it was like all or nothing. Like either I'm trying to tension this foot and keep it on, or I'm trying to blast off.
Yeah,
Right.
because there's in stuff like that, there's a moment where it's like, and now you kick.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're like, there it
Yeah.
is, go. And if you miss it, you're screwed.
Yeah, and you might as well just go home.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of other cool things to do at home that aren't that move.
Oh my gosh. I love being at home.
It's great.
It's super good.
So you're setting Rowland style boulders for yourself still, or that have some elements of Rowland style. Do you set Will style boulders for yourself?
Yeah, once in a while. I do my best impression of setting Will style boulders.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not good at that.
Sure.
Well, to tie it to, I mean, is this your second or third podcast today?
Fuck, I don't know.
Oh, it's a lot.
You've had other podcasts today?
I know he's.
I
cheating
talked
on
to
me.
kidding
Will
me?
already today.
You had
You're second fiddle, dude.
All right. That's how it's going to be.
Anyway, so we talked about spray walls and like making stuff up.
You guys hear something?
Shut your mouth. And so we were talking about how it's really hard to break out of your style and set something outside of your
Right.
wheelhouse and blah, blah, blah. Shout out that podcast episode. Listen up.
I'm not in it.
It happened today. We can pretend Roland's it. Will you splice Roland's voice
Yeah.
in just
What's-
randomly
yeah.
somewhere that
I'll
so
just
that he was
I'll just
in it?
splice
What's the
a
topic you
really
talked about?
loud laugh into the background.
Dude, you totally know all about it. You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
This is
Roland
me.
was there.
Talk about that podcast we'll do later. You can put that in the other one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So part of what was really valuable with all that time that we spent trying to learn and explain and figure out each other's styles and have those conversations and work on those boulder problems is, like I can look at the wall and make up a boulder problem. That thing draft. The only project I
draft?
didn't do before Switzerland, the one that you shit on.
I do that to so many. I don't know.
The one where you like jump to the purple block, jump to the orange one, float the foot out to the volume, go to the gas down.
yeah, the chill one.
Yes, the chill one. That I still haven't
warm
done.
up.
Haven't done
I
that?
still haven't done.
Because you washed that hole deep. You took it off the wall and washed it.
And I still can't do
Yeah,
it.
it was really embarrassing.
It was super embarrassing.
Because I did it like...
But like I set that boulder as like, I know, like, yes, this feels really hard to me and I can't do it, but I know that Roland's going to walk in here and take a huge dump on it. And he did.
Yep.
And so like and I'm still working on it. So I feel like part of the payoff for all that time spent doing what we did is I now like, even if I can't always do it, I have a good enough understanding that I can recreate it for myself to work on. He doesn't even necessarily have to make up a boulder for me in order for me to be able to climb in that style. And I've seen you you can do the same thing. I'm not even gonna.
Yeah.
I know you can do it.
It's just something that happens.
Yeah.
How often are you doing that consciously? Is it something you try to do every so often? I'm not looking for a schedule here, but
Every time. Every boulder I make up, I put at least one move or one element in there that incorporates that style that's going to prevent me from doing the boulder problem until I can do it. And then it's like, good job. Pat yourself on the back. You got to do you, but you also had to like make sure that you can still do this thing to a high enough level also. I very, very rarely make something where I'm like, oh yeah, that's just all me, and like someone else isn't going to be able to do it.
See, I feel a little bit guilty now because I have been indulging for the last 6 months, and I haven't made up a boulder that I haven't done in a long time.
It's only helped me out, and it's why I'm going to catch you.
See you.
Sure. Yeah.
See you eventually
whatever,
up
dude.
here. It's,
of course.
It's a high climb to get where I got.
Get all comfortable up on your mountaintop. Don't worry about little old me.
do you ever purposely set problems that you're like, Roland is going to shit on the first half, but now I'm going to set this gate that Roland is not going to get through because this is my
I
style?
know you do that.
I do that. I mean,
You don't
he
gotta
can do
tell
this.
me.
He can do the same thing. We can both walk in there and be like, "There's a 2-move boulder I know you can't do."
Yeah.
And we're both right.
Yep.
And the other person will like never do that boulder. But that's also born out of we've climbed together so much. I just know I've got his number and he's got mine. Literally.
Do you find situations outside? Like, do you guys climb outside very often?
It's been
together
less lately, actually, but we do when we can.
Yeah.
We were just in
in Gunny,
And are you
doing
working
stuff.
on the same things when you're outside?
Yeah.
It's very sick.
Do you find that you're able to share beta more now, or is it still, this is Will's beta, this is Roland's beta?
I think we do a better job of finding beta now, right? Does that make sense? Because like that one thing you found in Taylor,
Yeah.
we're doing the same way.
Yeah, except like the differences are like very slight.
They're like metaphysical differences.
Metaphysical and morphological differences. Where like for that first move on that project,
Oh, use it
I
on the
like
foot,
float this like weird toe hook because for me to get a bigger body in there and pull my butt off the ground and not have my knee touch that tree.
Oh, that tree is a freaking.
I know
She's a fickle bitch.
It really sucks.
Yeah.
And it's national forest land, so we can't cut it down.
Yep.
It's the only thing holding me back.
But so
I'm
yeah,
held back
like
by ethics because our planet is poisoned and every tree is a blessing. So
yeah, for real. I mean, we did kind of poison it ourselves.
I did not poison it myself.
If you listen to Sun Ra, you'll get these.
The one person
very
out there is just like,
stupid jokes.
God, yeah, they get it. But that's just us.
Yeah, like they're little. I mean,
I just get to
Roland's-
step on a foothold, but that's the only difference.
yeah, Roland's we're different bodies. Like, and I'm quite a lot taller than he is.
Let's not
and
get
so,
carried away.
I mean, I'm huge, and people like that I'm huge.
And I'm a regular sized person. People like that I'm a very regular sized person, you know?
Yeah, man, whatever. We have a good time, clearly.
I got lots of feedback after the first one saying that was the broiest podcast I've ever heard, but it was amazing. So I'm glad that hasn't stopped. Glad you both haven't grown up enough.
People
that
find us
that's gone.
delightful.
People find us polarizing.
That's a better word.
People either are like way into it, or they're like,
You'll fuck
take this
guy.
fucking seriously.
Which is great because life is meaningless and we're all gonna die.
Which
so.
is which is why we typically just go scream in the woods
Yeah.
until we're all bleeding, and then we go home.
And pretend like everything's normal,
Yeah.
which it is. So don't worry about it.
Do you see other people that you? I mean, you've got this crew in here of a bunch of fucking crushers that are climbing
That
here
was
all
a
the
fun
time.
session.
That was crazy.
When
dude.
everybody showed up, I was like, wow, it's been a while since this many people have been here. I don't know if this is going to go well.
And it was very cool.
And it was sick.
Yeah.
That was very fun.
It was so
It was so
sick.
sick.
Do you watch any of those other people and try to pull from their styles?
Every single person.
Everyone.
They're all
the
so
time.
different.
Yeah.
He's seen watching Liam Andrews Vanderkopf? AB. Liam AB.
Lemanders Bancroft.
Yep. and Dan Fong climb together? Like that shit's crazy.
Yeah. Dan's
Yeah.
a giant.
Dan is a
giant. A literal
giant amongst men.
A literal giant.
Yeah.
And Liam
He was
is
diagnosed as a child.
oh my gosh. Liam is a brick house.
Yeah, that's what the song. The song's about him.
The song is about Liam.
Yeah,
That was
Opposite
the
people.
prophecy.
yeah.
Liam is like the embodiment of
Of Brick
everything
House.
brick house.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
like solid all the way through.
the whole way through.
Most humans are
At least
like
partially
90%
hollow.
water,
Yeah,
but
if
Liam's
not more.
90%
90%
brick. I mean, you
yeah,
saw
and so trying
him.
to climb like Liam is dope, and trying to climb like Dan is dope.
So that last
just
boulder you saw
not-
them doing, where Dan gets like mega stretched out and does that one move easily, and then he got like powered down and into the tiny box and fell at the top.
Yeah.
And then Liam like could barely do that other move and cut feet, and then he got to the top,
But then
just
just
fucking campus
crushes
the
it,
last
yeah.
3 moves
No big deal.
because he's a brick house.
And that's what brick houses do.
Yeah, bricks are very good at campusing.
That's a well-known fact.
Yeah, well known fact, well documented.
Yeah.
Scientific studies.
It's in a lot of. It's
double-blind.
in a lot of.
Check your recent
scholarly
journal.
articles. Google.com/scholar. Right on top.
Jesus
For all you
Christ.
data nerds out there, look it up.
I am a scientist myself.
Yeah. To answer your earlier question, this is one podcast too many today. That's
Just split it. It'll be no big deal.
Yeah,
I have
totally.
a part 2, part A, part B.
Do you try to incorporate that stuff that you see in there, and how often? Because I know you're pulling from Rowland often because you guys spent so much time doing it. You see these guys. You guys have spent a lot
Boy,
of
I'll
time
tell
doing
you.
it. You see these guys out here. You're pulling from their styles, but how often are you consciously trying to do that? Is it right in the moment in the session? Like, let me try that the way you did it. That was cool. Or how's that look for you?
Yeah, I mean, I try to do it immediately because most of the time I'm not doing the move. and they're doing the move, and I would like to do the move. And so the easy way to do that is to climb like somebody else for a hot second, get that move done, go back to doing your thing.
Yeah, let me 43:56. That's the intro to this podcast.
Whoa, I did it.
Roland's sexy deep voice telling you all the things.
The
Such a
bees
good
are
voice.
dying.
Dude, the bees are dying. It's a problem.
Yeah. It's the first symptom of a dying planet. Everybody knows that.
We're gonna need
Do
a
we
new
know
ship.
that? Do we know that other planets have died?
Once we
Every single one.
once
Name one
we
planet
know
that
it-
has died that hasn't had bees die first. You can't do
Can't.
it.
You're right. I can't.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Facts.
I think if you're watching someone climb and you're not trying to learn something, you missed
Put
it.
some headphones in and, be content or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You done messed up. You should be learning all the time. And at this point, I rarely will, like, I haven't seen anything like so off my radar like the first time that I was climbing with Rowland. At this
Right.
point, I mean, I've climbed for longer now. There are like little things that I pick up from people, and some of it's like not always physical. Like, well, I guess with this one's physical. Like watching Magos climb.
Oh, dude.
The way that he can generate this like really explosive force off of the worst holds. He like somehow takes all these terrible puzzle pieces and in this gorgeous finesse way just smashes them all together and goes flying across the wall. And like I've never seen anybody do that.
It's freaking nuts.
Yeah, it's super wild.
Yeah. It's gosh darn crazy.
Gosh darn crazy. And when I watch like Margot or Brian, like on their first tries, and Bryce, like the conviction, and that's something that I'm trying to kind of, I've had moments in my climbing where I felt I'm good at this, but right now it's not one of those times. But that like first try conviction where you're like, you will do anything to get to the top.
Yeah.
And you don't give up. Like you mess something up, you like rewind a move and keep going. Like there is no,
Or just roll with it and do it wrong and continue. Like,
you either
Right.
plow through or you fix it, but like you're not coming off the wall unless you have given it everything and you like slip off.
yeah.
And that, I mean, that's a huge psychological component, and that's another thing to just having all these really strong and talented people around and just constantly having that like just shoved in your face, like, look, he's trying way harder than you, like, look, she's way better at slab than you, or
Yeah.
like that dude is better at like like you just can't get away from it. I never come in here and I'm like, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Not once have I been like, unless I'm alone
Yeah.
and I make up a boulder that I'm good at. Like that happens sometimes. It's very fun, but
Yeah, I actually like that I have this tiny little space that you can't escape to another area, another boulder, go across the gym. You know, you have to stand there and watch BJ circuit on your Mega Proj, you know.
Yeah.
And I really
Shamelessly.
appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah.
very shamelessly. Yeah, in your face, purposely.
Just doesn't
in
even
your
care.
face.
He's
He's
like-
like, oh, sorry, was that your project? I'm just warming up. I'll be out of here in a second.
yeah. Hey, Chris, my name's BJ. That boulder was easy. Is that, I think something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it sounds most of the time in my head, anyway. Yeah, and I think what you guys are doing and talking about right now is really massively important. If you're watching other people climb and you're not picking out the little things that they do better than you that you can learn from, you're completely fucking missing the point.
Yeah.
Having this stoked, ridiculously strong crew in here is in no small part, the one of the reasons that there's a strong crew in here. Everybody's raising the level of everybody else.
We're
For sure.
all getting stronger.
It's crazy.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even
Freaking Dan just put down 8C. That was nuts.
like
Easily.
quick hashtag quick work.
With the quickness. Dan is with quickness right now. It's cool.
He's with it. My favorite thing about Dan doing that is like I saw on his 8A comments, someone posted to Instagram who's like I'm out of my depth in this grade range. I was like, shut up, Dan. You're strong as shit. Like, don't tell me, like, get out of here. He's always trying to say it's not hard.
That's formal speak for soft.
Yeah. That dude's a machine.
Yeah.
He knows it. We all know it.
Everybody know it.
No, I think you guys are doing it right. I mean, minus the broy shit.
Yeah, sorry.
It's been a lot.
Kidding.
You can only live
don't hang
together
out
with
very much
someone so
anymore.
long and go on long road trips and listen to avant-garde jazz, and you just go a little nuts. And here we are.
God, I wish I had a camera for that moment.
We just touched tips for anybody listening at home.
All right, man. I think, like I said, I'm stoked to catch up with what we started way back when. You guys were like episode 12, is that right?
Oh,
Episode
yeah, we
12,
were on.
and we're at like 130 right now or something.
That's crazy.
So,
That's super cool. It's really cool
Yeah.
to see how y'all's side of things has grown. Like I think the only climbing podcast I listen to ever
well,
is probably you guys.
fuck right it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Come on. What are you doing there?
I just listen to episode 12 every day.
All right, with that, we're out of here. Thanks, man.
Thanks for coming
Thank
by.
you.
Honestly, I think I could just do an entire podcast with this crew here. It would be crazy entertaining and informative. I feel like I've got so much to learn from those two. I'm also really glad Nate was there to stop the broiness and ask a serious question that took the conversation in a different direction. Yeah, I think, like we said near the end there, if you're not picking up on and learning the little things that other people around you are doing better than you do, then you're just missing it. And I think really that's what position over everything is about. You have your positions, you own them, but look at other people's positions, see how they own them, try to tease out how you can own those same positions. And then eventually you become Jimmy Webb or Daiko Yamada. It's that simple. Big thanks again to Will and Rowland for sitting down at Tension headquarters. I appreciate those guys. I appreciate their perspectives and them just being willing to sit down and have fun in a conversation while also giving some really great information to everybody out there. Part 2 of the Cult Classic wrapped up. Part 3, who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Ottawa, January 13th to the 15th, 2020, Altitude Gym Performance Climbing Coach Seminar. If you're a coach, I really believe that this event is the one you need to go to. There's so much information, so much psych. I'm incredibly proud of what this event has become. So do yourself a favor, further your learning. All right, you can find both Will and Rowland on the Instagrams, and I'll put links to their Instagram pages right there in the show notes in your pocket supercomputer. So go follow those guys. Infinite wisdom coming out of those two. And remember, stick around to the very end here for Will's rant on how to climb harder boulders. It's actually very simple. You can find us at powercompanyclimbing.com. You can find us on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Pinterest at Power Company Climbing. And be on the lookout. It's almost the Christmas season. We've got some big sales coming, got some big cool things coming. And search for us on the Twitters. spend as much time over there as you want to looking for us, you're not going to find us because we don't tweet. We scream like eagles.
This time, this time, this time, this time, this time, power, this time to build power, this time to build power, this time to build power. 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 This time to build.
How do you prepare for hard boulders? You have to make yourself as inhuman as possible. Normal human stuff is not rock climbing stuff. Rocks don't care about you. Rocks don't care about humans. Rocks are just rocks.
You can't anthropomorphize a rock.
No, the best rock climbers are the best at being not human. Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like like even to put it in like a strength context, it's like what I see really hard boulders being from a physical sense is you're in these outrageously end ranges of motion where your muscle is either super extended or super shortened, and you're just in this weird position, and you have to be so strong outside of a normal human range of motion, like where a human being is efficient in order to climb difficult boulders. Like that's like, if I were to kind of distill it down into one thing, I mean, that's it. Like easy human motion, like arms below your shoulders and right up out here in front, doing normal human stuff, carrying babies across deserts for hundreds of miles. Like that's what humans evolved to do.
You know, we all do it.
Like carrying stuff, using tools, little delicate stuff. Our hands weren't meant to be grabbing these tiny ass grips and throwing ourselves through the air. That's some monkey shit. Like they're good at that. Their skeletons are adapted to that. Their bodies are adapted to that. And then we're like puny little human beings just like trying to throw our soft bodies against a rock and hope it sticks. Yeah, like a sticky hand from freaking dispenser at Target. And I mean, that's why I think all like the end ring conditioning is super important. Like just making your body really resilient so you can go out to these boulders and put yourself in these weird positions or routes or, you know, whatever it is. It's just climbing. But like, even in an alpine standpoint, like we weren't supposed to be up there. But here we are trying to go up there with like less and less gear, like faster than before, lighter than before, less support and all that stuff. And it's just, I mean, I think that's what's fun about it, is just seeing what you can do to the human body, like how far you can push it, and it's gonna break. Like you'll find the line, because like there's always a rock out there you're not gonna do. You know, there's always a mountain that you're not gonna climb Everest from base camp to the top naked. You know what I mean? Like there's an inherent limit, and it's fun to find it. There you go. That's all I got.